The door swung open with a creak that echoed like a gunshot in the empty hallway. And there she stood, Elena, my ex-wife, her lips curled in that same smug smile that had haunted my nightmares for 2 years. "I knew you'd be waiting," she purred, stepping inside without invitation. Her heels clicking on the hardwood floor like nails on a coffin. But it was the sight behind her, the flicker of movement in the shadows of my bedroom door, that ignited the fury. Her best friend, Mia, emerging with tousled hair and a grin that screamed victory, her blouse half-buttoned, eyes gleaming with the secret we'd just shared. Elena's face crumpled from triumph to horror in an instant, and in that frozen second, the air thickened with a metallic tang of betrayal reversed. My revenge, cold and calculated, finally tasting sweet on my tongue. I rewound in my mind to the beginning, that gut-wrenching day 2 years ago when it all shattered. It was a rainy Tuesday evening, the kind where the sky weeps endlessly, mirroring the ache in your chest. I'd come home early from the office, my tie loosened, briefcase heavy with unfinished reports. The house smelled of garlic and red wine, Elena's signature pasta sauce simmering on the stove. But something was off. The laughter from the living room wasn't hers alone. I paused in the foyer, water dripping from my coat onto the Persian rug we'd bought on our honeymoon in Morocco. The voices were low, intimate, laced with a familiarity that twisted my stomach. Pushing the door open, I saw them. Elena and Marcus, my business partner, tangled on the couch like teenagers. Her head thrown back in ecstasy. His hands roaming where mine once had. The wine glass slipped from my fingers, shattering on the floor with a crash that should have alerted them, but they were too lost in each other. The shards scattered like my trust, glinting under the dim lamplight. "What the hell?" I managed, my voice a strangled whisper that grew into a roar. Elena's eyes snapped open, wide with feigned shock, but there was no remorse, only a flicker of annoyance at the interruption. "David, it's not," she started, scrambling to pull her dress down, but Marcus just smirked, wiping his lips with the back of his hand. "Come on, man, you had to know. She's been unhappy for years." Unhappy. The word landed like a punch. We'd built a life together. 10 years of marriage, a house in the suburbs, dreams of kids we never quite got around to. But unhappy. I'd worked 60-hour weeks to keep us afloat, to give her the life she wanted. And this was my reward. Humiliation in my own home, the scent of their sweat mingling with the rain-soaked air. That night I didn't scream or fight. I just walked out, the door slamming behind me like a final breath. The divorce was swift, clinical lawyers carving up our assets like a carcass. Elena got the house, half the savings, and apparently Marcus. I got an apartment downtown, a bottle of whiskey, and a void that festered into resentment. First it was heartbreak, raw and unrelenting. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling cracks that looked like veins, replaying every moment. Did I miss the signs? The late nights she claimed were girls' outings with Mia? The way she'd pull away when I touched her. Mia. Elena's best friend since college, the bubbly brunette who'd been at our wedding, toasting to our eternal love. She'd always been around, a third wheel who somehow fit. But in the aftermath, Mia reached out. A text here, a coffee meet up there. "I'm so sorry, David. I had no idea." Her words were soft, her eyes sympathetic over the steam of her latte. I believed her then, or wanted to. She became my confidant, listening as I poured out the anger that morphed into obsession. How could she do this? I'd rant, my fists clenched on the cafe table, the clatter of dishes around us fading into white noise. As months turned to a year, the resentment hardened into something colder. I started noticing things about Mia. Her lingering glances, the way she'd touch my arm just a second too long. Was it pity? Or something more? Doubt crept in, whispering that maybe Elena had confided in her, that Mia knew all along. But I pushed it down, focusing on rebuilding. I threw myself into work, turning our failing partnership into a solo venture that thrived without Marcus's dead weight. Success tasted bitter, though. Every promotion reminded me of what I'd lost. Then came the call 6 months ago. Elena's voice on the line, tentative, laced with that fake vulnerability she wielded like a weapon. David, I miss you. Marcus. It was a mistake. My heart lurched, but not with longing, with rage. A mistake. After she'd paraded him at mutual friends' parties, after the whispers that reached me like poison darts, I hung up without a word, but the seed was planted. She thought I still pined for her, that I was the pathetic ex waiting in the wings. The humiliation burned anew. That's when the fantasies began. Not violence. No, I wasn't that man. But justice, poetic and precise. I imagined her walking back into my life, only to find the tables turned. Mia's role crystallized one evening over drinks. We'd met at a dimly lit bar, the jazz saxophone wailing in the background like my inner turmoil. Elena's been asking about you, Mia said, stirring her cocktail with a straw, her eyes avoiding mine. She thinks you're still hung up on her. The words ignited a spark. And what do you think? Asked, my voice low, testing the waters. She looked up, her cheeks flushing under the amber lights. I think she's wrong. You've moved on. Or could. There it was, a hint of invitation wrapped in subtlety. Guilt flickered in me. Was I using her? But then resentment surged. If Elena could betray me with my partner, why not turn her confidant against her? We started seeing each other casually at first. Dinners, walks in the park where autumn leaves crunched underfoot, their earthy scent mingling with Mia's perfume. She confessed bits and pieces. How Elena had bragged about the affair, how Mia had tried to talk her out of it but failed. I felt so guilty, she whispered one night, her head on my shoulder as we sat on my couch, the city lights twinkling outside like distant stars. I should have told you. Why didn't you? I pressed, my hand stroking her hair, but my mind calculating. Her answer was evasive. Loyalty, I guess. To her. Loyalty. The word twisted like a knife. Was Mia truly sorry, or had she been complicit, laughing behind my back? Doubt gnawed, but I buried it, letting the relationship deepen. Kisses turned passionate, nights blurred into mornings with sheets tangled and secrets shared. All the while I planned. Elena ramped up her efforts. Texts, voicemails, even showing up at my office with that same smile. Her perfume invading the sterile air. We can start over, she'd say, her hand on my arm, nails digging in like claws. I'd smile back, polite but distant, feeding her delusion. Inside, cold resolve built. Revenge wasn't about destruction. It was about exposure, making her feel the sting of loss as I had. Mia noticed the tension. You're different lately, she said one afternoon, as we lounged in my apartment, sunlight filtering through blinds in slatted patterns on the wall. Distracted. I pulled her close, kissing her forehead, but my thoughts raced. Was this moral? Using Mia as a pawn. Guilt tugged, but resentment won. Just work, I lied, my voice steady. She believed me or pretended to. Her own motives emerged subtly. Resentment toward Elena for always overshadowing her, for treating her like a sidekick. She's selfish, Mia admitted once after too much wine, her words slurring slightly. Always has been. The plan coalesced over weeks. I'd invite Elena over, let her think I was ready to reconcile. Mia would be there, hidden at first, then revealed in a moment of calculated intimacy. Subtle hints foreshadowed the climax. Elena's increasingly desperate messages, Mia's growing possessiveness. Tension simmered in quiet moments, like when Mia found an old photo of Elena and me, her fingers tracing the frame before smashing it accidentally on purpose. Oops, she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Fear crept in too. What if it backfired? What if Elena laughed it off, or worse, turned violent? Moral conflict raged. Was I becoming the monster she accused me of being in divorce court? But denial pushed forward. This was justice, not vengeance. Or so I told myself. The night arrived, rain pattering against the windows like impatient fingers. Elena texted. On my way. Can't wait to make things right. I poured wine, hands steady despite the pulse in my temples. Mia arrived first, slipping in quietly, her coat dripping on the floor. Are you sure about this? she asked, eyes searching mine. Guilt flashed, hers or mine. But I nodded. It's time she knows. We waited in the bedroom, the air thick with anticipation. When Elena knocked, I answered, pulling her into a hug that felt like embracing a ghost. "I've missed you," she whispered, her breath hot on my neck. I led her inside, heart pounding. The stage was set. As Elena settled on the couch, wine glass in hand, her eyes roamed the apartment with possessive familiarity. "You've kept it nice," she said, crossing her legs, the hem of her dress riding up just enough to remind me of old temptations. The room felt smaller, the air heavier with the scent of her jasmine perfume clashing with a faint trace of Mia's vanilla lotion lingering from earlier. I sat across from her, forcing a smile, my mind a whirlwind of calculation. Every word now was a step toward the precipice. "I've thought about us a lot," I began, my voice even, though inside, anger simmered like a pot about to boil over. "The good times. Lies all of it." The good times were tainted now, memories poisoned by her betrayal. She leaned forward, her hand reaching for mine across the coffee table, nails painted the same red as the day I caught her. "Me too, David. Marcus was a distraction. You're the one I want." Distraction. The word echoed, fueling the resentment that had become my constant companion. How many nights had I obsessed over that scene, replaying it until it blurred into a nightmare? But I played along, squeezing her hand. "What changed?" I asked, probing for cracks in her facade. Suspense built in the silence, the clock ticking on the wall like a heartbeat. She sighed, dramatic as always. "He wasn't you. Ambitious, stable. He left me for someone younger." Ah, there it was, her true motive. Not love but convenience. She needed me back because Marcus had discarded her like yesterday's news. Humiliation twisted in my gut. I was her safety net. "I'm sorry," she added, eyes misting with tears that looked genuine but felt manipulated. Dialogue like this revealed her. Always the victim, never accountable. From the bedroom, a faint rustle. Mia shifting, waiting for her cue. My pulse quickened, doubt surged. Was this too cruel? Mia had her own grudges, confiding last night how Elena had sabotaged her relationships out of jealousy. "She's toxic," Mia had said, her voice trembling as we lay in bed, sheets cool against our skin. But I stayed because, habit. Her admission added layers. Mia wasn't innocent, perhaps complicit in Elena's games, but her resentment made her an ally. Morally gray, all of us. I stood, pulling Elena up with me. "Let's talk in the bedroom. More comfortable." Her eyes lit up with anticipation, misreading my intent. As we entered, the door creaked shut behind us. The room was dim, curtains drawn against the storm, thunder rumbling distant like suppressed rage. I kissed her lightly, testing, but my mind was on Mia, hidden in the walk-in closet. Guilt gnawed. Using intimacy as a weapon felt wrong, but resolve hardened. This was payback. We sat on the bed, her hands exploring, whispering promises. "I never stopped loving you." I let it build, tension coiling like a spring. Then the signal, a knock I feigned as the neighbors. "Ignore it," she murmured, but I rose, opening the closet door casually. "Actually, there's someone you should meet again." Mia stepped out, hair disheveled as if we'd just... Well, the implication was clear. She wore my shirt, unbuttoned at the top, a smile playing on her lips that was equal parts triumph and nervousness. Elena froze, her face draining of color, the wine glass tumbling to the carpet with a muffled thud, red stains spreading like blood. "What? Mia?" Her voice cracked, betrayal etching lines on her flawless skin. "Surprise," Mia said softly, her tone laced with years of pent-up resentment. "David and we've been seeing each other." The words hung heavy, the air electric with shock. Elena's eyes darted between us, piecing it together. The late nights Mia had covered for her, the secrets shared. "You bitch," Elena hissed, standing, fists clenched. "After everything. You were my best friend." Mia's laugh was bitter, echoing in the confined space. Friend. You used me, Elena. Always the star, me the shadow. And David. You threw him away like trash. Revelations poured out, dialogue raw and revealing. Mia admitting she'd known about the affair from the start, had even encouraged it subtly out of envy. I wanted what you had, she confessed, voice trembling. Elena lunged, but I stepped between them, the scuffle brief, hands grabbing, nails scratching. In the chaos, my own emotions surged. Heartbreak revisited, but now with cold satisfaction. Yet guilt lingered. Had I manipulated Mia? Her eyes met mine, a flicker of doubt mirroring my own. But the payoff came swift. Elena's scream, a guttural sound of pure fury and pain, as she realized the depth of the reversal. You planned this, she accused, tears streaming. Both of you. I nodded, voice steady. You thought I missed you. Well, I moved on, with someone who sees your true colors. The twist deepened. Mia stepping closer to me, her hand in mine, but her smile faltered slightly. Was her affection real, or revenge-driven too? Moral conflict peaked as Elena stormed out, slamming the door, her sobs echoing down the hall. Alone with Mia, the room felt oppressive, rain lashing the windows. Did we go too far? I asked, fear creeping in. She shrugged, but her eyes held shadows. She deserved it. But us? Is this real? The question hung, unresolved, a psychological echo. Revenge tasted bittersweet, consequences unfolding. Elena's potential retaliation, our fragile alliance. In the end, as Mia left with a kiss that felt tentative, I sat alone, staring at the stained carpet. Justice delivered, but at what cost? The twist, a text from Elena hours later. You'll regret this. Hinting at hidden motives of her own, perhaps a counterplan brewing. Suspense lingered, the story closing on a note of uneasy victory, morally ambiguous and psychologically resonant.